Welcome. Samhain here. This is something that has been requested for quite some time. Today I'm going to give you a makeup tutorial of a sort. I want to preface by saying this is not a traditional makeup tutorial. Now you can follow along as I demonstrate how to do it, of course, but it's more of an interview whilst doing makeup. At the end of the video, I will show you the products I used and some of the techniques if that is your main interest in watching the video. I shall also be making a follow-up video with the rest of the questions that we didn't get to in the main makeup application. As always, I hope you enjoy. My name's Sam. I forgot where the camera was. This is Nico, my guest. Say hello.
Hi, I'm bald, just like him. We're twins.
Are you here
he gave birth to me. No.
No, okay.
No, he kidnapped me. I was walking on the street and he's like, that one looks like me.
That one looks fresh.
Exactly. And he's like, your Danny Phantom shirt slit. And I was like, shut up.
Makeup tutorial that has been wildly requested. So we're going to start with Ben Nye Clown White Base. I'll show it to you, like all those.
Is this the James Charles look?
Yeah. Makes you look just like a clown.
I did Tate's makeup from American Horror Story, right?
Second.
Wow, look like fucking horns. Nice. I did Tate's makeup from American Horror Story. I don't know if you know Tate, but he's a school shooter. And
yes.
Me and my girlfriend at the time.
How far do you want me to go back?
No, however far you want. Me and my girlfriend at the time, she decided that she wanted to be Tate and Violet for the school's fucking, what was it? It was Halloween, and so it was like, I think it was, you supposed to be some kind of a pair. And I went in that makeup, and I'm like, if for a second,
makeup?
Yeah, and I'm like, I look back at it now, and I'm like, that seemed like a really bad idea. If any teacher knew, no, nobody was offended. Because I didn't know the context. I mean, what teacher that you know watches American Horror Story? Like, what teacher do you know has taste? Yeah, exactly. Only the cool ones, which is like your theater teacher and like the band teacher substitute.
Band teacher?
Yeah, I've never been in band, thankfully.
That's probably good for you. So, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. We already know who
No,
you
it's
are.
alopecia, not cancer.
Oh, here we go. So, what drives you?
Usually cars and shit, like, I get from here to there. No, I mean...
What's your main driving force?
Yeah, for me, the main thing is the desire to actually make people smile and, like, make a difference, because when I started, it was during COVID, and actually, I was in film school at that point. I wasn't doing any social media. And if you look at my very, very old YouTube channel that has, like, 13 subscribers, maybe 14 if I'm lucky. Anyway, yeah, and the last video that I made, it was like, I think week 1 or week 1.5 of lockdown, and I said in the video at the very end, if it comes to the point where we can't socialize anymore, then you bet that I'll find a way to still spread happiness and joy. And then social media, like TikTok, became a thing. One viral video, and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna keep this going, and then I did.
Sorry, I really like doing this because it's like
it's so smooth. I look like a monkey as of right now, like wearing a helmet, a space helmet. That was the main thing for me, and then that's what I noticed. I still come down to every single day. It's not the views that make me happy. It's that I actually say something meaningful. Like, I don't look at videos that do really well and go, oh, hell yeah. I look at videos that mean something to me and go, oh, hell yeah, even if it gets, like, less views, but it makes some kind of a difference. Like, actually, I made one recently. It was for the LGBTQ community. So I'm pan, so, like, part of it. But I did that video, and it did better than I expected. And that made me happy, because I was like, a lot of people actually are benefiting from what I'm saying in this video.
And it resonated with you.
Yeah, it resonated with them, and I'm like, that means more to me than, money or fame or viewership could.
Well, that leads me to my next question is, what are your goals with everything that you have now? Whether it be personal, it doesn't have to be social media, but just in general, what are your goals?
The Naked Confidence campaign is the thing that I'm working on right now. Because right now it's an organization for people with alopecia. That was like that was when I started social media, I was just beginning and had that first viral video. This was literally already a thought.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted to do, and it just ended up becoming true sooner because of social media. But the Naked Confidence campaign, essentially, as of right now, it's only for people with alopecia, but it's a way of teaching people that their aesthetics don't matter. What it matters is who you are as a person. If you don't know what alopecia is, essentially, you have one of three kinds, and I am the third evolution, so I'm the rarest of Pokemon.
Oh,
but I'm a Universalis. But there's Areata, which is patchy hair, Totalis, which is you're bald in your head, but you still grow hair everywhere else, and Universalis, which is what I have, which is no hair anywhere. But I knew it took me 14. I'm sorry, I've had it for 14 years. But it took me, I was 7 years old when I lost my hair, but by the time I was in ninth grade, I don't know how many years that is, that's whenever I finally gained the confidence. Actually, the great story is the reason why I really broke down at one point is there was this girl in middle school. And this was the first time that I had a crush on somebody and actually cared about somebody. And, I had my puppy love or whatever you want to call it. And I look like a mummy.
You are a mummy.
My father. Call me daddy. But yeah, so we talked. We were friends. She really liked talking to me. It was very obvious. Funny guy. Oh my god. I'm like tortilla over here.
Yeah.
Like a little piece of
meat. Tenderizing.
Exactly, tenderizing. It's great. Making schnitzel. Good for my Czech heritage. But anyway, yeah, she says to me after we kicked the shit, we're great, everything's fine. And she says to me after I mustered the confidence to ask her out, I say to her, I like you a lot. Like, do you want to be my girlfriend? And she says to me, and get this, and I quote, "I like you a lot, Nico. I just think I would like you more if you had hair."
Wow.
Yep. So for the next 2 years, like 2.5, close to 3 years, I wore a wig because I thought that okay, she said this. Well, somebody else also said the same thing. Somebody else who I had a crush on said the exact same thing. And she was like, and I don't really like the fact that you don't have hair. And I'm like, fuck. So I was like, I guess apparently you have to have hair to be loved.
Yeah.
Which was horrible. But, that became the case. So I wore that wig. It wasn't until ninth grade that I took it off. But now, after having gone through that, I understand how difficult it is for a lot of people. So I want to be able to be a force that's able to help people. And to come to that acceptance and to realize that that's not what's important. And if somebody tells you that, they're the crappy person. You're not the crappy person. Like, you don't need to be any kind of way to be beautiful. It's like everybody's beautiful in their own way, even if you're ugly as fuck. No, I'm just everybody's beautiful in their own way.
I'm gonna powder you.
So it's interesting, other story too. That's almost. I don't know if you want to say something about
No, you can.
the makeup.
Oh, the makeup? No. Oh, I'm applying powder now. It's thank you for reminding me actually. This is just baby powder. It's used to set the makeup because the cream is very tacky. It feels like semen on your face. So, anyway,
Accurate.
Continue.
There's this girl actually, and it's something that all the people in the alopecia community really felt, because we all underwent our own share of bullying in school. Her name is Rio Allred. And she was getting bullied to the point, she's 12 years old, and she was getting bullied to the point that in school people would rip off her wig and slap the back of her head, which is ridiculous. She would get called alien kid, other things like that. And I'd been called cancer head, so similar stuff. It was really bad. It was about her same age. That's middle school, about early high school, where people actually care about what you look like. Elementary school, they don't understand yet that you're supposed to look a certain way. But anyway, she gets bullied. It's getting really bad. Her mother says to her, she had read an article that week of another 12-year-old boy who had committed suicide because he was bullied so much. And she said to Rio, she's like, I never want you to do this. This is something I want you to know. If you ever come to this point and you're thinking about this, you can come to me. And everything's going to be all right. And we'll figure it out. And Rio says, oh, of course. I know I would never do that. Next day, she commits suicide. 12 years old. And we're all we totally lost one of our own. We all felt that shock because you think, we've all been through what she's been through. And it was horrible press, but I guess what do you want to call legacy press for alopecia? Because you're all of us want to fight a million times harder now. to prove that you don't need to look a certain way to be loved, and like to put that shit down because you think this girl really was pushed to the edge,
to that extent,
to where she felt like that was her only way out. And that shit hurts. Like I've cried over that same video several times because on the Red Table Talk, her mom actually comes on and tells the detailed story of how it happened. I literally, everybody else who's watched the video that I've told to watch it is like ended up in tears, and like it's horrible. You're like, this really, like, aesthetics really mean that much to people in American society that they're willing to kill themselves over it because people will bully them for it because bullies are fucking terrible. This is why it's important. It's an important, relevant issue.
I mean, I had my fair share of bullying growing up. I don't really like talk about it that much. I'm not sure why that is. And I know obviously you have as well. Do you think that it's, I mean, obviously it comes from a place, most of the time with bullies, it comes from a place of inadequacy.
On their part, yeah.
Are you thinking me asking your own personal?
What experience with bullying?
No. With getting, well, I guess it goes in tandem with getting to a point where, you know, you feel like suicide's your only option.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind if we?
I mean, for me, it wasn't even related to bullying. That's a very deep story, but I'm sure it would also be relevant and meaningful to a lot of people. Because, like, when I was bullied, I don't think suicide was ever a thought, you know, period. I was just trying to figure out what I could do to actually be okay and enjoy myself and not get bullied. But the good thing was I had family and I had friends that actually cared about me. So regardless of how much bullying that I would suffer, I would always have people who loved me and appreciated me and would, like, comfort me and be like, these people are shit. And I'm like, yeah, you right. And then, you know, everything was good. The only time that I became suicidal was whenever I had my episode of being incredibly depressed out of nowhere. And I didn't know what it was. And I kept trying to peg a reason. I was actually over in LA and meeting some creators for the first time. And it was just in the middle of dinner that, like, suddenly my anxiety spiked so much that, and this is the medical thing that happened, I didn't know at the time, my amygdala shut down, which is what's in charge of, like, executive functioning, decision making, conversation, wit, you know, focusing, pretty much everything that you do day to day, the ability to read a book and retain the information, to watch TV and be able to register what's happening on the screen, it shut down. So I couldn't focus, I couldn't listen, I couldn't, you know, make a structured sentence and a complete thought to save my life. It was terrible. But that lasted for about 8 months, and I went into the worst depression of my life, maybe about 3 months after, like, into it. And I became suicidal because I'm like, I don't know what's happening to me. I was trying to figure out, like, okay, so I became horribly depressed and anxious, so there must be something that I did to myself. And that's the reason why I'm feeling like this. But as it turns out, you know, only because of actually the past, like, 3 months, figured out that it was bipolar. Which people, like, have the misconception that it's like, oh, you're really mean and then you're really nice. It's like, no, you're bipolar. It's bipolar 1, bipolar 2. Bipolar 1, you stay mostly manic, which means elevated, like, inflated ego, really highly impulsive. You do a lot of stupid shit. You're incredibly confident, like, overly confident to the point where it's toxic. Or you're depressed, but you're mostly manic. The bipolar 2 was what I have, which is you're mostly depressed unless you take medication. Or you're hypomanic, which means you have an elevated, like, inflated sense of ego. You know, really, you might be really funny, really creative. So it's not like toxic or as toxic as mania is, full-blown mania. But I was horribly depressed for, like, those 8 months, and then went into, like, I was taking antidepressants at the time because I got actually suicidal. Because I was like, at that point I was done. It got worse and worse and worse, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what the hell's going on with me. And I'm just miserable. I can't watch TV. I can't talk to people. I can't socialize with my friends. I can't learn anything. I can't watch TV even if I want to unwind. So, like, what the fuck am I going to do with myself? As I didn't know. And then suddenly, whenever a friend of mine, who's an ex-friend now, suggested that I go to Hawaii with him, we did. And on the plane, it's like suddenly everything was relieved. And I was so funny, so creative, so confident. And at the time, I was like, okay, so I guess that's what it's like to get over depression. It's like, obviously not. It's not a flip of a switch from like being horribly depressed and like inconsolable to being hyper confident and social as hell. But that lasted for 3.5 months. And then
Do you think that was the result of the trip specifically?
Uh, actually, what they say, I think it's partially the trip, but apparently what they say is hypomania is also triggered by antidepressants, SSRI specifically, if you're not taking a mood stabilizer. That's why I was on Lexapro, which is an SSRI, and it was at clinical dose whenever I was on the flight. So it might have been that, it was that plus those that pushed me to hypomania. But I thought it was great. 3.5 months, I thought it was amazing. Then I would crash and burn, but at this point, I still didn't know what it was. So whenever I suddenly went from that horrible 8 months to being on top of the world and like my career was really taking off and everything was going well for me, and then I crashed again and I didn't really know why, I was even more depressed than last time, and it was worse because I was like, dude, what the fuck? I was like, I felt like I finally got over it. What the hell's going on? Still didn't know. Got to the point where I was like, even fucking cutting myself because I just wanted some kind of release. And my girlfriend was like, I feel like at this point you just need to you need to go somewhere because clearly you're at a point where you can't take care of yourself. Like I think you need that. And she was an angel for saying that because it was true, even though I didn't want to admit it. And so I went to a residential stay, and it was just this really nice place over in LA that it's like supposedly where celebrities go. Big fucking whoop. But it was really great. The people there were so nice. The staff there was great. And there was a psychiatrist there who was a fucking G. And when I explained to him what was going on with me and what I experienced as extreme highs and extreme lows, he said to me, first time anyone said it, I think that sounds like hypomania to me, like bipolar. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, that's exactly how it works. And he's like, hypomania lasts for 4 days or more. Like that's what's classified. And I'm like, it lasted for 3.5 months for me. And he's like, yeah, it can last that long. Like, what?
Shit.
Yeah. So I was suicidal as fuck at that point. Like, I really, I genuinely wanted to die. Because it was so miserable. Because I couldn't do shit. I couldn't socialize. I couldn't be there for my girlfriend. I couldn't give advice to people.
Is that irritating your eye?
No.
Okay.
I couldn't give advice to people. I just couldn't function, period. So I'm like, if I can't even talk to people and I can't even do something as simple as watch TV to enjoy myself, what the hell am I doing? Because all I could do was sit and think. That's it. Think about the fact that I'm miserable. So anyway, when he told me that, I started to get on new medication because bipolar depression needs to be treated with bipolar medications, which is a good thing that actually exists. So I start one. It actually, in a couple of weeks, makes me more depressed. But as I'm leaving there, my insurance... stupid ass fucking insurance would not approve an extended stay, which it would have been good, and I didn't need it obviously because I'm good now, but when I left I told him about a new medication. I was like, I've heard really good things about this, something in the universe is telling me it's this one, and he's like, I think that's a good option. So when you leave, start that up. And I've been on that medication. It's called Lamictal, and it was the proof, I guess you can say, that I do have bipolar. Because I've even had family like, no, you don't. And I'm like, okay, there's medications that are meant for only bipolar depression. And now after taking that medication, I actually feel all right. And it kind of showed me that regardless of how low you feel at any point, there's always hope. But for me, it was because I had no idea what was going on with me. And that's why it was so terrible. And that's why I wanted to give up, because everybody was like, they were gaslighting me, as my girlfriend says, but they didn't know it. That's how she phrases it. We're gaslighting you, but you didn't know it.
Unknowing gaslighting.
Yeah, because they were just like, it's the medication. You just got to wait, because, Lexapro takes 4 to 6 weeks to kick in. And as far as they know, after taking Lexapro, after taking Lexapro before, you were amazing and you're great in Hawaii and all this stuff, so you just got to wait. And part of me was just like, no. I was like, I'm not convinced that's it. And they were like, it is, you got to be optimistic, blah, blah, blah. And they're telling me, at one point, all 4 of them, parents, mom, stepdad, sister, girlfriend, are all like, we're getting you all these appointments, we're doing all these things, and, we need, you need to eventually put in the work yourself. And I'm like, you're not doing that, obviously, and, you have to stop, cutting all this shit. And I'm like, I'm fucking trying. But they didn't know that it was something else going on because I was right. It wasn't fixable with medication, with that medication, because that wasn't what was going on.
Isn't it weird that a lot of the time when people assume, people that are not you, obviously,
Yeah.
know so much about like
Yeah.
what is wrong with you,
Yeah.
and then they tell you
They're
what it
fucking
is.
wrong.
I just,
What?
I don't take any medication anymore. I was on, close that eye real quick. But I used to take Lexapro. I used to take Adderall. I was prescribed Adderall. I was prescribed Ritalin back in the day, which
That sounds real lit.
Ritalin.
No.
But do you feel? I mean, all that being said, I mean, I would assume, talking to you now, because like, you know, when we hung out last, how long ago was that? Would you say it was like? That was before you went to Hawaii.
I think it was, no, it was after I went to Hawaii, but I was back from Hawaii.
What?
I was thinking it was like, maybe, yeah, because I went to Hawaii before I was hypomanic. I became hypomanic whenever I was in Hawaii, and I was hypomanic whenever you met me. So, yeah, that was probably like November, I would think. So, it's now June, so 7 months. Holy shit.
Well, how would you categorize your state now from then?
Today, much better. Like, I actually feel balanced, and it's not this stupid like hypomanic level where there's like confidence that comes out of nowhere. It's not justified confidence. Like like now it's justified, and it's a good level. Cause I mean, like today, I've had this today specifically, cause I've like been able to tell the medication. I've only been on it for so long, but it's been getting better and better and better. And I think today is the first day where I'm comfortably funny again, and I'm comfortably me again.
Yeah.
And that's only been because it's been so gradual. And so like a couple of days like past, I've been, pretty much myself, like kind of funny, kind of in the moment. But today specifically is like, all right, we're really getting there now, which is kind of a shitty thing to feel like you're deprived of for a year and a half. It's a long fucking time to be miserable and to be completely like inept. And this is what was so fucked up for me too is, I met Mara, who's my current girlfriend. I fucking love that girl. I met her whenever I was hypomanic. So I'm like, you met me when I was a version of me that's not going to be how I am for the rest of it. But it's funny. Well, yeah, she was still there. Like when I was depressive, I was inconsolable. It was traumatic for me. It was even more traumatic for her because she saw me suffering and I couldn't even communicate what was going on to me with her. But she still stayed with me, which is how I knew I found somebody who really like truly loved me.
Yeah.
Because she came for my birthday and I could tell it was really hard for her still. Because when she left me, I was suicidal as fuck. Yeah. And I've been cutting. And now she's back for my birthday, and like all of a sudden I've got some charisma back. I'm talkative. I'm actually like me, and we can have a conversation again. Because for 3.5 months, I could not have a conversation with her. Period. Because that's the thing, when your amygdala shuts down. Here's the thing: even if I hear what you're saying and I register it, like you say, you're like, yeah, yesterday I went over to grab the mail, and it was really crazy, and like this one dude, he came out and he shouted some really stupid shit at me because I was wearing my makeup. I'd be like, that sucks, and my brain stops right there. Like it doesn't think, like it can't think about what to say. Like it can't draw a connection to be like, that fucking sucks, like what a dickhead. It reminds me of a time that, because there's no memory. There's no short-term and long-term memory.
So, any of your responses were those just that was just...
It's kind of just agreeing.
Yeah,
that's all I could do.
Reactionary?
That's all I could do, yeah, and it was terrible. This is an interesting thing. So, the only time that I could, like, give a story, and usually they were really poorly described and it would take a lot of effort to do it, was a story I had already told. I could not tell new stories. It was like my physically could not. My brain couldn't do it because it couldn't store memories. That's quite literally, that's medically what happens. You cannot store memories. So I could only tell stories that I'd already told, and it was kind of shitty because I couldn't tell them very well either. Oh my god, though. It like, and you think about that, you're like, anyone would become suicidal whenever, if you don't know what's going on. So thank goodness for this fucking doctor who was like, I know what that is, and no antidepressant's gonna work for you because you have bipolar, and this is the only thing that's gonna help you. And the good thing is, I've got alopecia. Interestingly enough, this is why it works. I accept that shit. Some people who have bipolar will not accept that they have bipolar. And they won't take medication because they don't want to believe. They don't want to believe they need to take medication for the rest of their lives, but they do. Because if you want to actually function as a human being, you know, bipolar, you need to take your meds. Because those will actually make it to where, the best way I heard it described is, if a normal person with depression, or like normal levels of like emotions, nose, that's stable. It's like top of your forehead, that's like really, really high. Chin is really, really low.
Yeah.
Now, with bipolar, your low is like about down here by your nipples, and then your high is way up here. So your low is ridiculously low. So it's miserable. So anybody, I think, at that point would be questioning existence and all that shit. But even when you're at that point, there's always, you know, thankfully, because of modern medicine, there's a way out, and there's a way to actually get there and be like, okay, if I take this medicine for the rest of my life, I'm going to live a good life. And I'm like, okay, these people who are stubborn because they're like, oh, it's going to be bad for me, or I don't want to have to take meds because I want to be a normal person. Well, it's like, well, one, you're fucking not. Accept that.
Yeah.
And two, look at it this way. If you got to take meds for the rest of your life, let's say those meds shorten your life. Let's say 10 years. Let's say 20 years. Be generous, 30 or 40. Be ridiculous. I personally would rather live to be 40 years old and have lived 40 really good years where I feel like myself, which is what the medication does for you.
Suffer the entire
Yeah, and if I was miserable until I was like 90 years old, that's a terrible fucking life. Which I'd kill myself beforehand because I'd actually be fucking miserable.
So I did not mention, after powdering, I used black acrylic for under the chin and the neck. This is, I think it's Maybelline.
Elmer's glue.
Yeah. Elmer's glue Maybelline eyeshadow. And then I just used, again, baby powder to set his eyes, which I'm going to do again. And then we're going to move on to the nose. Close that fucking eyes. And then the lips. The biggest thing with setting is otherwise you're going to get like really bad smudging and it's going to look like shit. Which mine always does, so it's because I don't do that right.
Because impatience.
Patience, I don't have fucking patience.
Yeah, exactly.
Patience for nothing.
Eggs.
We're going to use for the nose, Wolf Brothers, red.
Fucking get your Jacob from Twilight ass out here.
Wolf. No wolf.
What the hell's his name? Jacob. What's his last name? Edward Cullen Jacob who?
Jake Wood.
Why don't... I feel like I knew that. His family name. Because everybody knows Edward Cullen is the vampire. What the hell's Jacob's last name?
Jake Wood.
It's not Jake Wood, is it?
No, I'm just...
Sounds like... fucking Jake off.
Jack.
Yeah.
Alright, let me get the...
Oh my goodness. Rudolph.
Huh? I caught that trick. Beast.
Nice. Nice nose.
Nice cough.
I ended up getting really good at that, and it's like really crisp whenever I say it.
Nice.
When I do full throttle. Nice cock!
I like how you made it talk all the way.
And that's why I have to become a voice actor. That one dude, freaking, was it like Steven John's voiceover, something like that? He's freaking killing it. Wow, I look like you. He's killing it. I saw his clip today where he's like showing how many things he's a part of. He has shit for like Stranger Things, like normal media, like sports teams and all that shit.
Acting.
It's insane. Well, yeah, because like here's the thing: is he does TikTok too, and I look at some of his videos and I'm like, this didn't get as many views as it deserved.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, poor guy, but it's like, no, he's he's out there doing voiceovers for things that actually matter. So like, he doesn't have to worry about his TikTok income. Because he actually, he's doing his shit. He was in like a Spider-Man movie, I think, at some point.
So
There you
sunset makeup, I don't remember what it's black. It's black.
That's racist.
Hey.
He's putting black on my lips.
That'll be alright. Do you want the smeary? That was
Smeary?
a horrible transition.
Smeary.
So sometimes I do a look where it's like it's dragged out, or do you just want it like crisp, like how mine is right now?
I'm down for smears.
You want smears?
Yeah, why not? We'll go with something that's more edgy.
Alright. I'm not gonna ask you any questions while I'm doing this because
it's lips and I.
Yeah.
So he's gonna do all the talking. I'm gonna ask him a question. Why do you exist?
Why are you like this? Alright, open your mouth.
Ah!
Smile like a donut. That's horrible.
I know what I'm doing. Wow. Calm down. Getting my lips done is so exciting. Now I'm testing how much I can talk through my teeth. Never thought I'd do this. I'm gonna commit a hate crime.
Oh my god. Don't make me go to hell.
Aren't we there already?
Yes.
Actually, I need a donut. Oh yeah, let's not stop talking for a second.
Very top lip.
Is that the Grim Reaper?
Bro.
We're being assaulted. What?
I'm ready for RuPaul's Drag Show.
Okay. We're gonna cancel for that.
I hope so. You know, the trick is you can't be canceled if you don't care.
That's very true. That's very true.
Look at fucking Trisha Paytas.
Oh, okay.
It's true. Still going.
Yeah. I'm trying not to. You're eventually gonna get this on your teeth. You're already doing it. Try not to. I mean, you can close them, but like, you're gonna have to smudge them off your teeth because you're gonna bring. I'll let it dry.
Nice. Nice.
And then I'm gonna
Lips.
have to smooth out the edges. For the lines, we're gonna use these fucking. I don't know where the camera is. We're gonna use these eyeliner pens. For what? No, I don't do that, dude. Like,
He's bald cis, so he's gonna eyeline my non-existent eyebrows.
super slim, infallible. That's what it is. Fucking buy it, dude.
Super slim and valuable. Hey, look, man. I don't know about you, but that's all I'm working with here.
I told him at the beginning. I'm like, you're just gonna have to follow along. I'm not gonna. This is not those crime documentary, you know, where they do the makeup while they're.
It's those documentaries where you. There you go.
That's so weird.
What, does it vomit? Yeah. It's pretty trippy. I shall call him Mini-Me.
Call him Eduardo.
Hola, soy Eduardo.
Lemon siete.
Lemon siete.
There's this dude.
Yo quiero tu madre.
Papi Nalgas. You know, I went to Mexico. I told people they call me Papi Nalgas, and they call her what's
Puta?
Puta Burrata. I was like, they call me Papi
Wait,
Nalgas. They call
burrata.
her Puta Burrata.
Which
cheap,
is?
cheap slut.
That's funny. Oh, right, Burato.
I'm probably saying it wrong, but speak
I don't know if that one's feminine, masculine, interchangeable.
I don't know.
I took enough classes, and yeah, it was weird. Oh, shit was weird. When I was hypomanic as fuck, I went to this bar one time, and there was this woman there who only spoke Spanish, and she was with her two friends who only spoke Spanish. And, like, I'll tell you, I had never been confident enough to actually, like, test my Spanish with somebody. We fucking talked all night long. I performed magic for them. We went to a dance club. We had a great conversation. And that was when I was, like... So I'm fluent, but I just didn't have the balls before to like to notice it. It was weird as shit. It was like trial by fire, but when I just had stupid confidence.
Alright, we're gonna fucking...
I'm so hard.
Powder your eyes. Close this one.
She dying.
Probably. Hopefully. I try and work on it, like...
She put you on her will?
I don't fucking care. Get out of my house. Get the fuck out of my house.
You work hard to make this house a home.
You sound like all the hicks out here. Get the hell off my property. That's what I was worried about when I was pulling up here. I was like, I'm mixed race. You might be like, you look a little too many shades dark to be white, and I got a problem with it.
This is not an HOA.
If I done look at you properly, I compare you to a vanilla wafer, and that's the extreme.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be good. Alright, don't move. Okay, then we're gonna do the other side.
This is kind of similar to what I did that time.
That's fucking weird,
Nice.
dude.
Because the Tate makeup, though, is like, it's this plus the teeth. So, like, you add the little teeth, shit.
I can't look at you.
You're like, I'm looking at myself, what the fuck?
No, it's really true. I've
That's
never
funny.
done it on anybody. I've never been in the presence.
Well, that's because we have similar head shapes, too. So, it's like, you can do
Yeah.
this on somebody else and then, be a
Well,
thing. But, like,
as
our
I-
heads, like, look the same shape.
as I did that second line, it was like reminiscent of like me doing it in the mirror, and it just really threw me for a loop. Like I did that second line, I'm like,
What the fuck?
like
Yeah, that's funny.
flashes of like me. Oh, okay.
Do you want to know how I got these scars?
My father was a drunk.
Fucking gangster Joker. You want to know how I spit these bars? Over Joker. You want to know how I went to Mars?
Are you a Taurus?
Yes. No. Actually, according to the new astrology, yes.
What?
Yeah, there's new astrology. It came out years ago. So like I'm a Gemini, but like they say supposedly I'm a Taurus. I have such a funny joke, but I can't say it. But I'm gonna say it. You can edit it out. If I could quick save and then make that joke and then return to my previous save, like I do that shit.
It's like Skyrim.
Exactly.
Me playing Cyberpunk 2077.
Accurate. There's some times that I wish you could also whenever you're really excited for the next day, if you could do the sleep for 8 hours, but it's 8 seconds.
Just fast forward.
Yeah, fast forward 8 seconds.
Yeah.
You're like, Liz, tomorrow.
I think I need to use that other one. That's dried out. God damn it, that's the sharp one.
Wow. Looking more and more like you every moment. That's weird. I'll just talk with that voice. That way you can tell who's who. It would have been funny too is if we had the exact same outfits.
Oh Jesus.
They're pretty close though. I mean, with the shirts at least.
Yeah.
Just dark clothes.
I feel like I did your makeup better than I did my own.
Oh, you care about me. Oh, it's weird because when I smile, I look like you. I also have the vampiric teeth.
You do it.
I don't know who gave me those. Probably Edward Cullen.
Edward Cullen.
way up, like you couldn't even see it. It was way up, like right here in my lip. And whenever we went to the first place to see about getting braces, she's like, "Can I round off your canines?" I'm like, "No, you fucking can't." I was like, "We're gonna go somewhere else," and we did. And then yeah, I don't know why she's just like, "They're so sharp," and I'm like, "Well, it's almost like we."
Kind of weird.
It's almost like that's an adaptation and like an evolutionary thing where that's like actually necessary because we eat meat. Yeah, wiener schnitzel, but yeah.
So she was like, "Can I fix your teeth that I don't like personally?"
Yeah, basically. She's just like, "Can I de-evolutionize you or something?" Anyway, so we went somewhere different, and the doctor was just like, "We're gonna pull that shit down." It was great.
Okay.
But now I got the vampiric teeth.
Over your mouth? No, tongue out.
Can you hit the sack on it?
Yeah, switch that around in your mouth.
What is that?
It's cracked.
It'll be fine.
Is that for the tongue?
No, it's for your teeth. Yeah, just switch it around. It'll dissipate.
I don't know what's happening.
It's, yeah.
Oh,
there
I
you
see.
go. Yeah. Makes your mouth look like caca.
What?
Look at your tongue.
Nice.
There you go.
Doesn't taste that bad.
So, I've used the eyeliner pens for the lines on the face. Sunset makeup for the black lipstick, and then use the same eyeliner pen to extend the smile. Acrylic ears, neck, Ben Nye for the base.
Ben Nye, the science guy.
So, I didn't ask all the questions because obviously we went through makeup real quick. But if you'd like, we can continue to go through those here in a minute. If you'd like to do that, it's up to you.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm bald.
So I hope you enjoyed the makeup tutorial with Nico. I'm going to go over some of the products specifically, show them to you directly so you'll be able to purchase them if you want to replicate the look. I'll also be giving you a couple tidbits here and there, techniques that I've learned over the 10 plus years of doing this makeup style. First and foremost, the white base. I use Ben Nye Clown White. You can pick this up from Amazon, a bunch of other retailers, makeup stores, and the like. I do want to specify though, that is cream-based makeup. It is very heavy. You want to make sure that you powder it so it doesn't smear, although you will still get smearing if you are not applying it properly or not setting it properly. If you are in situations where there's high heat, it is probably not going to stand up the best in terms of the other makeup is going to get muddied. So you want to do airbrush for that, which is what I do when I'm in high heat scenarios, a lot of sweating, stuff like that. Moving on to the red for the nose. I've had this palette for a long time. This is Wolf Brothers Hydra Color. It's water activated. It's 030, just red. Because it's so minimal, the amount I use, this can last for a very, very long time. It is also very, very good. Again, it is water-based, although when using it on airbrush, I don't get a lot of sweat dripping off my nose, so it's not really a concern. But if your nose is running, or you're sick, or something like that, it is going to run, so you can alternatively get cream-based or alcohol-based makeups to replace that, and that'll work fine. Now, moving on to the black aspects of the makeup, the ears, some of the eye, and the neck. So for the neck, starting off with that, I usually use black acrylic. The reason for that is it's very easy to wash off. It goes on very quickly, dries very quickly, although for high heat, high stress environments, it's not the best. For that, I would recommend black airbrush, whether it be water activate or alcohol-based, either of those will be fine. For the eyes, I will either use a black liner or this is Maron Foundation Grease Paint Makeup. That's black. Again, make sure you're setting it with either setting spray or powder or both so it holds up a lot longer and you're not smudging it with the other colors. Then it looks muddied and it just looks dumb. So with the lines is the biggest question I always get asked. People don't understand how I get the lines so straight and stuff like that. I just use these, this is Revlon. It's a Color Stay Sharp line. It's just an eyeliner pencil, and I just use it and drag it down. It's really not super, super difficult, but again, if you're not setting the white base properly, it's gonna run into it. The liner pens work a lot better on alcohol airbrush. Again, that is a water-activated product as well, so if you sweat, it is gonna run. So these are all things to keep in mind when doing the look, depending on how long you want to wear it. Last but not least, for the black on the lips, I usually use Sunset Makeup. It's just black. Although I try multiple brands, so you don't have to use that one. Just any matte black lipstick will work. Depending on the longevity, will depend on which type you're using, which manufacturer or supplier. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. As I said, there will be a secondary video with the rest of the questions that I asked and never got to during the makeup application process. So hope you enjoyed this. It's a little bit different than the other stuff I've been doing on YouTube lately. So have a good one. I'll see you on the next one.